Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Quick 60. It's been, roughly a week since I gave you an update, so I told you I was going to give you a weekly update, so I need to give you an update today. I've been kind of busy with football, but nonetheless, I was going to give you my top 3 sleepers in fantasy PPR for this upcoming fantasy football NFL season. Stick around to the end, and I'll give you one more bonus one as well. So something you need to really realize about fantasy football drafts and fantasy football in general, as far as sleepers and busts, is that it's relative dependent upon where they're drafted. So if they're the 20th best player and you get them 20th overall, and it might be a steal overall in the season, but as far as draft value goes, I don't necessarily consider that a steal. I consider steals, when you're drafting 5th round and all of a sudden that 2nd round talent that comes out of it for the season. So that's kind of what I'm giving you today. I'll make another video on my top 3 busts as well, so stay tuned for that. So my first sleeper, I guess you could say, on the board that stands out to me is Nick Chubb. So the Cleveland Browns running back. He's currently going ranked right now at running back 10 overall, and which I think is way too low for his value. The Cleveland Browns offense is crazy good. I think they're going to be really good this year. As you can go back to my predictions about the Cleveland Browns for the season. Last season in 12 games, so he didn't even play the whole season. He had 190 attempts for 1,067 rushing yards. That's an average of 5.6 yards per attempt, which is really good. He also added 16 catches for 150 yards, and he averaged 12 total touchdowns. So he played 12 games. He averaged 12 touchdowns. His offensive line is really tremendous. They have Kareem Hunt there, but I'm not too worried about Kareem Hunt. He's not near as good as Nick Chubb. I'm kind of slightly concerned about they're going to have to spread the ball around a little bit with Austin Hooper, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, and obviously Nick Chubb. So there's that. But, running back 10, there's no way. I can't think of 10 better running backs than Nick Chubb. So maybe 5, if that. But for him to be at running back 10, that's just ridiculous. So that's my first sleeper on the board for you today. So my second sleeper on the board is also a running back, and it's Darrell Henderson for the Los Angeles Rams. If you go back and look, obviously we know Cam Akers, he's out for the year, he got hurt, all that good stuff. But before he even got hurt, I was telling you and I was telling my friends and everybody that, hey, Darrell Henderson was holding his own with Cam Akers. They almost split time, and really Darrell Henderson pretty much did a little bit better to me than Cam Akers did statistically and just watching game film. So if you go back and look, Darrell Henderson last season, he played in 15 games. So, like I said, they split time. 138 attempts for 624 yards. He averaged 4.5 yards per attempt. He also added 16 catches for 159 yards, and he had 6 touchdowns. So obviously the touchdown value wasn't there overall, but I expect that obviously to increase. And he was going at running back 22, and so I really think that he could peak his way. His ceiling is probably a top 10 running back this year. So if you can get him around running back 22 for a top 10 running back for his ceiling, that's great and tremendous. They have Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp splitting, but obviously I think the offense is going to be better with Matthew Stafford this season than Jared Goff. So I anticipate them to score a little bit more points for their offense. And, as far as the running back situation goes, their backup right now currently is Xavier Jones to Darrell Henderson. And so I anticipate them probably to add a veteran running back, maybe Adrian Peterson or something like that. But I still don't anticipate that to hurt Darrell Henderson's fantasy value. So my third sleeper on the board is starting with a receiver. And guys, let me explain to you how some fantasy predictions do this. So they base this year's fantasy predictions on last year's outcomes and predictions, but you can't always do that because of injuries, or because of quarterback play and stuff like that. So for example, my third sleeper is Darnell Mooney, and I think he's going to explode this season. He's starting on the other side of Allen Robinson, so he's going to get single coverage. He was open, if you watch the Bears game, quite often, and it's not his fault that his quarterbacks, Trubisky and so forth, couldn't hit him. He's wide open, and there's passes going over his head and hitting the grass and the dirt. And so, he had opportunities. He was open. He just didn't have a quarterback to hit him. And currently he's going wide receiver 52, which is insane to me. There's not 52 receivers better than Darnell Mooney. I'm looking at the rankings right here, And there's on his list, I would take him above Jalen Waddle. Obviously, you don't know what you're getting with Jalen Waddle yet. Marvin Jones, no question. You know, he's on the Jaguars. Marquise Brown, I'm taking Mooney over him. Michael Pittman, he didn't play up to expectations with all the injuries on the Colts last season. Mike Williams, I'm taking Darnell Mooney over Mike Williams. Devontae Parker, I think he's a bust. Antonio Brown, no telling what you're going to get with him. Corey Davis and Chenault. So, you know, that goes all the way up to 42 overall rankings, and I'm still taking Mooney. So I think there's good value with Darnell Mooney this season. You know, if you can get him somewhere in the 50 overall receiver range, 55 receiver range, and I think he's really going to play out good for you. I think he'll be in the top 40, say 38 to 40 wide receiver range. You know, last season he played all 16 games, so he's not injury prone. That's a good thing. He had 61 catches on 98 targets. Like I said, there were just bad throws to him. A lot were his fault. He was open quite a few times. He had 631 yards and 4 touchdowns. So I think he's definitely going to improve off of that this season. So look out for him. Guys, and here's just a bonus for you as far as a fantasy sleeper goes. It's going to be Jamar Chase. You know, right now I looked at the rankings in the list, and he's going around like 33rd as far as a receiver overall. And I understand he's a rookie, but he's going to be a stud. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And, you know, it's not like he's like a Chenault or someone like that. And if you're looking at the rankings, you know, he's going around Tyler Boyd, which is ironic because they're on the same team, but he's tremendously better than Tyler Boyd. There's no reason why he's 33 and Tyler Boyd is 34. To me, Jamar Chase should be somewhere around DJ Moore's, and I would take Jamar Chase over DJ Moore, he's at 18. So for Jamar Chase to be at 33 and DJ Moore to be 18, I think that's around Deontay Johnson's range where Jamar Chase needs to be, Cooper Kupp area. So for at least the first season. So I still think that he's drastically undervalued right now. So if you could pick him up, you know, around wide receiver 33 to 35, you're getting a steal. All right, guys. So stay tuned for my fantasy bust coming up. Until next time, this is a quick 60. Peace.